Colts Nation, if helmets or helmet accessories interest you, make sure to go to greengridiron.com and use code INDSYN at checkout to get the discount code with it. Whether it's mini helmets, full-size helmets, visors, clips, whatever it may be, different face masks, different variations of helmets, alternate helmets, whatever the case, you can get it at Green Gridiron. And again, that's code INDSYN at checkout for the discount. Thanks for stopping by for another video, and now let's get into it. What's going on, Colts Nation? I appreciate you joining me for another video where today we're going to talk a little bit about, hey, what are we looking at this offseason? What do we need to do this offseason? And of course, we're not going to go into detail about everything. This is just me, thinking, right? A couple days after the season, wanted to give myself some time to think. We, of course, had the stream, the end of season stream on Monday, and didn't have any content yesterday, just because, again, I just wanted to give myself some time with how wrapped up I am in the Colts. I wanted to give myself some space for a day and let myself really think about it and hey, what's the most important thing for the Colts this offseason? Of course, like you point to culture and figuring out the vision. And of course, that's part of it. But when it all comes down to it, at the end of the day, the reason every single year the MVP is always the same position. No matter how much the Derrick Henrys and the Saquon Barkleys and Jonathan Taylors of the world deserve an MVP award, it doesn't matter because the quarterbacks are always going to get it. And in our instance, Anthony Richardson, this is it. Like, this is it. You're bringing back Steichen and Ballard together. They're both hitched to Anthony Richardson as an organization. We thought this was a move. Well, now it's time to go make it work. And it sure feels like we're in a spot where, hey, if Anthony doesn't figure it out, all of you are out at the end of the 2025 season. Ballard, Steichen, everybody, everything, whole new building, is coming in 2026 with Arch Manning if Anthony doesn't figure it out. So at the end of the day, that's the most important thing. And of course, as I've reiterated, and just for anybody that may have not heard this point that I make, you have to understand with Anthony, yeah, he might come in next year and nothing's changed. And he's still the same quarterback. But I will always believe that a guy can get better. Somebody his age, he can work to get better, right? Once he's, 25, 26 years old, that'll be the time where I'm like, okay, whatever he is in the NFL, that's what he is in the NFL. I do think he can develop. I think he can get better. And his coming into the NFL, he had to train for the combine, and then it was immediately into rookie mini camps and mini camps, right, with the rest of the team. So for the most part, coming into the NFL, he wasn't able to train to be an NFL quarterback. He was doing other sorts of training, right, and then team training, not individual training so much. So as he's coming in, he can't work on that, and then of course the injury happens, and then through last offseason, his first offseason actually in the NFL, not able to really have an offseason because he didn't throw again and wasn't throwing fully until May. So he couldn't work on himself again, right? Like he watched Gardner Minshew play football last year, like sitting and watching and being behind a veteran, that's only going to do so much for you. You can take what they tell you about the game. I think that's the biggest part is what a veteran can tell you about the game, and then you take that onto the field, and you're able to have secondhand experience, but then of course you don't know until you actually experience something yourself. And for Anthony, getting the experience through this season, of course, we're 2 seasons in, right? So 34 possible games due to being sat and due to injuries. He's played in 15 games. So for Anthony, through 2 years, still not as near as much experience as you would hope, but through this offseason that he's going to have, through a healthy offseason, right? Coming back from the back spasm and being able to put in the individual work. I think this is a massive offseason. And I'm not saying we got to have Anthony come out and be a top 10 quarterback like he could be, right? I mean, with his abilities, of course, he could be the best in the world. Will he ever get to that point? To be honest, probably not. Like with what he is as a passer, how much he can get better as a passer is the real question. Now, with that said, Josh Allen got much better as a passer. Lamar Jackson got much better as a passer. It's very possible for it to happen. And we've seen guys continue to get better. I mean, Lamar has 2 MVPs and he just continues to get better as time goes on. And is Anthony going to be able to do that? Is he in a place where he's going to be able to do that? And that's a big question. Can this building really develop the players? And we've seen at different positions, right? Nate Cross, Alec Pierce, of course, stand out Jalen Jones as well. These guys, the development is working. What they bring to the table, they're using that and using what they've always been successful with, but they're learning on the fly. And in the experience that they have, they're turning it into being much better players. Like Alec Pierce, like that's a guy you're probably going to have to give an extension to. I definitely was not saying that before last season. Actually talked about trading Alec Pierce for other receivers. And here you have Alec Pierce, I mean, showing out. Thank goodness. Because Anthony's going to need guys like him. Anthony's a guy like, I feel like for him, he's kind of like a wind-up toy, right? In the sense, like as a quarterback, not as a human, as a quarterback, he's kind of like a wind-up toy where he'll be able to hit a couple of those short passes, but then at that point, his arm's wound up and ready to throw. And that's where you need Alec, right? And knowing Steichen needs to see and understand that and come into the season knowing, hey, my quarterback like has to be able to throw the ball downfield. I got to be able to draw this up in a way and call a game in a way where he's going to be able to launch that thing down the field. And just knowing that Anthony may need two deep shots like that in a quarter to be able to be the best version of himself, whatever that may entail. The coaches need to get their hands on him. I know the same people that Josh Allen worked with to work on his mechanics and get his mechanics mapped out, right? They hooked him up with wires and different things to be able to map out his mechanics and get him fixed, right? Fix him as a passer as he came into the NFL. Anthony's working with the same people he did, right? So I think there's definitely capability for Anthony to come in and be able to work on those things and be able to get better. And I think he has all the capabilities of being an incredible player for us for years to come. So we'll see what happens through, of course, the 2025 season, and just hope that through the 2025 offseason, we see a lot of content about, hey, Anthony's put in work. And of course, it's a long time till the next season starts, right? We're looking at it's currently January 8th. The next season is going to be starting in September, right? Early September. So we're 8 months away from the Colts officially coming back, from being able to see, hey, all the work our guys put in through the offseason, all the different pieces we have, hopefully, like what are we going to be, and what's it going to look like, right? The potential last season of Ballard. Let's see, can they save it? Steichen and Ballard and Richardson, will they be able to do it? We're going to track everything that happens through the offseason as much as we can. Of course, there are downtimes throughout the offseason, but we're going to do the best we can to continue to update with as much information as possible. We're going to keep coming up with different content and different conversations to be had about this Colts team through this offseason. So make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you have notifications on so you're getting notified anytime we drop any content on this channel throughout this offseason. Of course, I appreciate you coming by for another video. And as always, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and go Colts.